Well, hey everyone! Welcome to Craven Something Scary, where it's all horror all the time. Well, guys, today I have a very special video for you today. A little bit different, because you know what? Sometimes you just want to shake things up, change things up, and that's what's going to happen today. So, we're going to talk Scream 6. That's not going to change, but I decided, rather than just to bring you kind of my normal style video, that I would bring a guest on so we can talk Scream together. And it's one of my favorite guests, great friend of the channel, great guy, an amazing channel, and it's a channel you all know very, very well. The iconic, the legendary Alex from Podcast Now. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you for having me. So, very kind words, and I always have a blast, talking to you about pretty much anything. But
Yes.
Scream here. So thank you so much for having me on again.
Man, it's my pleasure, and I do appreciate you making the time in your day to come hang out with me for a little bit, and we're gonna have a great, great time. So today we are going to be diving in to Scream 6, and Alex, the news, it just keeps coming. Every time you think you've got caught up, right? Here comes something else. And so we're going to talk really about the state of Scream 6, if you will. Where are we at? Where are we going? Where we think we're going? And so why don't we do this? How about we backtrack a little bit? And so we got the announcement that Scream 6 was greenlit initially. And that came very early, like after the movie was released, right? And
earlier than I thought. Honestly.
Me too. So totally. I believe I was thinking like maybe around this time, like maybe March, April, we're going to get the word that it'll be that greenlit it. Ooh, little did we know that was just the start. So what happens next? We find out next that it's going to be filmed in Montreal, right? In Montreal, Canada. That was interesting because that's a new thing.
Yeah.
And that's never happened outside the U.S., so that's something new. And then we find out that it's going to be filmed rather, when? This summer. That was just this summer is all he said. And I'm like, whoa, this is quick. This is really quick. Yeah. And then finally, I'm setting this all up for you, Alex. I'm laying the foundation. And then we find out, not only is it the summer, because the summer could be August. It could technically be late summer. We don't know. No. The film dates have dropped. We're going to start filming on June the 4th through August the 10th. 9 weeks and 2 days total shoot time. I counted it out. And so this is all happening so quickly. And my first thought was, and this is what I want to get to ask you about, my initial thought was I'm panicking a little bit. I'm very scared because this is happening at a rapid pace. Like, what are you guys doing? What are you rushing? Are you going to rush the writing process? Are you going to, what's going on?
Yeah.
And one thing made me feel a lot better is when I found out on a live stream with Killjoy Jake the other day. I was on with him, and we were talking about something. We'll talk about the filming location in a little bit. But anyway, what made me feel a little bit better was that he found out that the production offices for Scream 6, where they're renting the offices, they were secured on January the 12th, which was 2 days prior to the release of Scream 5. Wow. Which, Alex, what does that tell us? That tells us there's been stuff in the works way before Scream 5 was even released, which means it's not as fast as it appears to us. So give me your thoughts now. When you started hearing all this drop, what were you thinking about when you heard all this information?
I was very happy when Scream 6 was announced, and the release date was cool. I think March works, end of March works, and we're less than a year at this point. So it's exciting to think at this time next year, like we'll be in the midst of it, like we were, just a few months ago, which seems like longer. It seems like longer, January. But no, I was worried too, and I don't think it's fully still gone, my worry, but it definitely isn't something that I'm gonna hold over the movie massively. as long as the work's been put in ahead of time. And I feel like from what we've kind of heard from at least the writers, right? Like I feel like they
Hmm.
probably had an idea even when they wrote five. So I guess what worries me the most is just and this hasn't proved to be an issue yet. But what is the only worry to me is that if the script needs work or if somebody doesn't like it
Mm.
or something, you know what I mean? Like Courtney
Yes.
got it and she's in, so I guess
Yep.
what I mean. But it was almost like, but she's in before she even read it, which it seems like,
Seems
and I don't
like.
really love that. And then Nev, it's like, oh boy, I think she's in, but she's made it more like scary than it needs to be. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
she's awesome, and I think all of us obviously
Hmm.
respect the heck out of her. And I thought she was, and I still do think she's like a for sure thing. But just like the way she words it makes it sound a little scary. You know what I mean? It's like,
It
oh, is that
does.
really how you feel? Are you doing that for money? Like, why are you saying it like
Yes.
that? Where it doesn't seem as sure. And if you go back when she was on the press tour, she was
Hmm.
all in. I got
Yep.
like a clip of her saying like, "Oh yeah, there'll be more Scream movies," and she was like so confident. It seemed like she
Yeah.
was so ready to do it, and now she's a little less. So, like, and again, I think she'll be in the movie and all that stuff. That's not going to be an issue. But that's the only worry I have. If they gave her the
Hmm.
script, end of March. Well, what if it's not great? What if she needs? What if she wants a little retooling? And that's just
Yes.
them. What if? I don't know how much power like a Melissa Barrera has or Jenna Ortega, but what
Hmm.
if they don't like it? So that's the only thing to me. But we're full steam ahead, like you said, less than 2 months, and they're
Ooh.
gonna have to be filming these lines. So I hope they like the script.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. Because boy, and here's the thing too. What if they wrote the script and they have Nev in the script to be in it? Well, what if she decides, you know what? I don't like what we're doing here. I'm not, this needs, like you say, it needs to be retooled or just cut out completely. Now you got James and Guy locked in a room together
Yeah,
because ripple effect, right? Because it's not just like isolating one character, because that character's actions in the script affect other people.
right.
So if you remove one player, it seems to me that you're going to have to modify everyone else, because they're all intertwined at some point in the movie. At
Yeah.
least the ones that are living and surviving cast members. So yeah,
And those kind of things can get,
yeah.
and like that's always been my worry for games, movies, whatever. It,
Hmm.
it is maybe like a nitpick thing, but when you have something like that happen, it gets away a little bit, but every little step from like the original want of what they wanted the movie to be. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
it's silly to think or to expect that like their vision from start to finish is going to be the exact same, but sometimes those ones are the best ones when you have complete control there or something. So that's something that worries me, right? You change one little thing, but it's like, yeah, but you didn't design the movie for that, so now you're trying to
Yeah.
work on the fly and maybe you'll make it work, but like it would
Hmm.
have worked better in the first place. I don't think it'll end up mattering or like changing anything, because I actually don't think Sydney may, I don't know, it depends on how they do it, but I feel like Sydney may have the least amount of like the smallest role of the
Mm,
six, unless they kill Chad very quickly, which could happen.
it could. Yeah. I mean, in fact, that kind of leads me to maybe the next area now, because I have an idea about that. So we found out that the production offices for Blackmore Productions, which the film's being filmed under the working title Blackmore,
Yep.
and we found out that the offices that they've rented for their production facility is directly across the street from McGill University in Montreal. It is literally across the street. I even did a Google Maps where you can see, like, you walk across the street and you're on the campus grounds. And so I started thinking about that. And then Alex, then I thought to myself, well, hold on a minute. Not only is it across the street from a college, but when are they filming the movie? They're
Yeah.
filming June 4th, August 10th. What is that? At summer break on a college campus. There'll be much less people there. There'll be a few classes going, but they can easily isolate areas
Oh
with
yeah.
in the summertime. So now I'm like, wait a minute. It's summer break. You're across from a college. Alex, where there's smoke, there's usually fire. And by the way, one last thing before I ask you your thoughts on this. The school itself, McGill, is famous for being film friendly. There has been a
Uh,
lot of movies filmed there. They even have a section on their website where you can go and it talks about filming and you can get rates. You
Oh
can
my
get all
god.
this stuff. And so, like, there's been a couple of X-Men movies filmed there. There's been a bunch of Jack Ryan, the TV show. Jack Ryan was filmed
Sweet.
partially there. A bunch of stuff. So I'm just saying it like this. You've got three things going. You've got across the street, you've got summer break, and you've got a film-friendly school.
Right.
So what do you think, Alex? Are we going back to college? Are we really gonna copy or not copy, but maybe pay homage to Scream 2 and be on a college campus
Yeah.
for Scream 6? What do you think?
Well, number one, great detective work, and I looked
Thank
to
you.
you specifically. When this whole thing was breaking, I was like, I don't need to do a video on it because you guys got it covered. So there's no reason for me. No,
Thank you.
yeah, well, good work, and I find it hard to believe that it can't, that it won't be at this
Hmm.
point. Maybe it won't be like fully, like that's the main thing because I don't know. Like, so Tara is part of the same group with Mindy and Chad, but
Yep.
not Sam. So like,
Hmm.
do you have all of them go? And that's kind of weird because then why is Sam there? She needs to like watch over her. Are we
Hmm.
doing literally 1 year after? I think so, right? Because these movies tend to mimic real life. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't really know if you can do the whole thing on the college campus. And for as much as they say they want to subvert our expectations, which I don't love that phrase in the first place, but when they say all that stuff and taking big risks, which is,
Yeah.
and we
Taking
we talked
risks.
about, you kind of have to.
Yeah.
And
You
now
do.
you can make a big swing or a big miss from that, but you have to take that swing in the first place. And so what does that mean? Like, what do you end up doing? Do you copy too? Because that's not taking a risk.
No.
Maybe. Well, I don't know. Do you think it
I
is it
mean,
taking a risk
it
because you're
depends.
copying too? So that is a risk.
It is a risk in terms of if you got to nail it. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're going to copy the Craven model of 2, everyone's going to compare this to Scream 2.
Well,
You're
yeah, and at this
and that's
point, like,
hard.
and we talked about this, like, we've given 5 a lot of chances and a lot of
Yes.
like we just given them things because
Hmm.
of we're gonna wait. But now if
Right.
you've done 2 things, also you have to start to question like, well, why are you just copying 1 and 2? Like, why are we
Hmm.
remaking the first trilogy again? So there has to be
Yes.
some sort of new idea. And 5, were there new ideas? Yes, but was it really like 1 again? Yeah,
Hmm.
much in the vein of episode 7 to episode 4 of Star. Like it was
Hmm.
like that, right? And
It
there's nothing
was. Yeah.
wrong with that.
Yeah.
But when you keep doing it, then it
Right.
becomes more like, well, did you need to do it? Again, we like 5,
Exactly.
so I'm not saying anything against it,
Right.
but it'll be interesting because I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I still think I
Hmm.
will. Like I think
Yeah.
they could copy the college thing, but make it such a twist. And when you do have Gail, Sydney, they can't be at college. So where are they? What are they up to?
Hmm.
Sam, I guess she could be there, but that doesn't really make any sense. So, or maybe she could be going back to college because she did leave. She was, she did drugs and
She
stuff, and
did.
she never, I guess. Well, yeah, I guess in terms of the canon, she went to high school, but then she
Hmm.
didn't go to college. So she could go to
Yeah.
college, I guess, too. Would be kind of weird, but fine, you know.
Yeah. She could. And I thought about that a little bit too. Like, how could this all work? And my thought was, in Montreal, there's a downtown area that looks really, I mean, it's skyscrapers. It looks a lot like a New York setting. Like you
Yeah,
could, movie magic, right?
yeah,
They do it all the time. And so my thought was, Alex, and I run this, I want to get your opinion on this. This is one thing we haven't had a chance to chat about before now is what if we see the college setting with Mindy, Chad, and Tara all going to school together in New York City?
oh,
They've
yeah,
moved to New York for school. They want to get far away from California. So they
yeah.
go to New York and they all know Gail. They all have at least acquainted now with this whole thing that happened in Woodsboro. But here's my thought. What if we're on college campus and Sam tells Tara at the end of 5 that she's never going to leave her alone again? She's never going to not be by her side again, something like that. So my thought was, what if maybe she's not in school, but she moves up there and she lives in New York near the school. She's just there. She sees them a lot. They come over to her house.
Yeah.
Maybe even Tara's living with Sam.
Yeah.
They're living together now, and while she's in school, and then Ghostface Killer pops up at college again, and here we go. And then what do? How do you organically bring Gail Weathers into the movie? Well, you do it in her city.
Right.
Gail's already living in there, so it's not like she's having to. Because the big question was, how are you going to get Gale back to Woodsboro. It's got to be a book tour,
Yeah.
which we'd already done in 4, but it could be done again. And like, but this takes care of it because you're already in New York. Your school is there. The killing starts happening. Gale's automatically thrust into it now to help out with what's going on. Maybe Gale's attacked. Maybe goes to college and then goes to her studio or something, or in the parking garage. And what do you think about that idea about making this in New York?
I love it. That's a good idea. Yeah, because I don't think anybody necessarily thought it, but yeah, I don't think it'll be placed in Montreal. Like that'll be the setting of the movie. So yeah, I mean, you make a good point. Like, why not? If it looks like New York, make it New York. And yeah, for Gail, it makes the most sense for it to just be where she's at.
Yeah.
But what's weird is she actually has, out of the two, Sydney and Gail, she has the easiest ways of being anywhere because of a
True.
book tour, whereas
Yes.
Sydney doesn't. So I do agree, and I do think that makes the most sense. And even what we've kind of seen with Courtney, probably going to be the main of those two.
Yep. It looks like
Sydney. It makes
Yeah.
sense to just put it where she is. I would just have the question then of how do you get Sydney there? Do you have to kill
Ooh.
Gale?
I
Like,
mean,
what do you
oh
have to do?
gosh. Well, and that's the thing too, Alex. So you touched on two things. Let's park there for a second. So the first thing is, I will have a serious bone to pick with Radio Silence if, and James and Guy, the writers, all of them, if they kill Gail Weathers in this movie, not because I'm saying she's unkillable, but you cannot kill Dewey in 5 and turn right around and kill another OG legacy character in Scream 6. Come on, Alex. That's just not cool, dude. You're
Yeah.
basically don't go Star Wars.
Yeah,
Let's
that's what
don't
you would
do
be
that.
doing. Yep.
Yes, you would be copying, and I'm like I'm convinced you can be creative and make a great movie without killing the legacy cast. Just write better, just write well, and you can make a good. So my first bone is don't kill Gail. If you're going to kill her, if you really are going to kill her in this trilogy, make it 7. Don't do it back to back because that's going to be. At least we could say, well, they didn't kill her right after Dewey. At least we got a movie where we got her and Nev back
Right.
before they killed her. So that's the one thing. And then the second thing is you kind of pulled the Rubik's Cube out of the box. Nev Campbell is the Rubik's Cube. How in the world do we get her into this story where it makes sense? Now, first of all, I'm jumping way ahead. So let me stop there. I want to do it in 2 parts, give you a chance to answer. So how do you feel about my commentary on Gail dying? Do you agree that they should wait, or do you think that? What are your thoughts on that whole concept, man?
Yeah, I think you wait. I think. I mean, we've seen it been done, like you said with Star Wars, where you can kill her in this one, but you don't. You just don't need to. And at this point, you have 4 young. I did a video. Now you said this probably goes up the same day we're recording. I did a video that'll come up in a few days where I looked at the literal numbers of how many main cast members are in each movie. Because I thought, okay, well, like 5 had too many, and that was a serious issue with 5 is there's 2. So I thought to 6, and you say, okay, well, how many people do you literally populate the movie with, like their friend group? How many? And the issue that 6 has is they're going into 6 with more people than ever before. Like they normally have 3 to 4 max in any of these movies. So you're going in with 6. Now, I guess if you don't count Gail and Sydney, but I say you have to, but then they would be 4. So I think, you have to lose some of the kids, even though most of them, most except for Jenna Ortega is older than me. But you have to do that. And so like Chad, I think is as good as gone.
I think he's dead.
And I really think you could play the numbers game. You could play the big twist game. You could kill Sam, and then you're left with those 2. And a thing I said in that video, which I find kind of interesting. This has never been done in all of these movies. If you think about it, going from the one to the next, whichever one. Randy is the only one, and Judy is the only one that's jumped with the core. So they've never added characters like, Kirby, but technically I'm not really going to give them that. I'm not.
No,
so, you know what I mean? Yet. So they've never added, like in 2, we're talking about 2. How many new characters were in 2? A ton. Most of the cast was new, and they all died.
They all did.
So how many times have we ever had cast that's come in and you've picked one to stay? Very rarely, twice. in the
Yep.
entire, you know what I mean?
That's a good
So,
point.
and I guess how that connects to Gale is you keep her alive, you kill a couple of the kids, and
Hmm.
then after that, you add in one or two new people that you brought in for six, and then you're good. So I
Wow.
think you keep her around and you try to build that younger group, and then you keep the older ones, and then yeah, maybe you could kill her in seven if she wants to. I really feel like at this point it should be left to them.
I do too,
Um,
man.
it's a tricky thing because at the same also, maybe it doesn't work out the best, or maybe their decision is not as good as the creative teams. But I don't know. Like David Arquette clearly didn't want to die. He was caught
He did
completely off
not.
guard. Nobody else wanted him to die.
No.
So like it was a huge moment, and it is very sad, and it was a great scene, like all things considered. But like I don't know, like I don't really think that went over probably very well. So it's like maybe you should leave it to
No.
them to decide if they, like Nev. And Nev hasn't even she hasn't suggested it. She hasn't asked. She's like, no, I'm this person, and guess what? You're not killing me. Like I'm not coming back. They should give the same kind of courtesy to
Mhm.
Courtney as well.
I agree. And part of me thinks that maybe they have. I mean, I think we don't know for sure because they haven't said it. I'm hoping that they have. Like, this is royalty. This is franchise royalty. We're not going to, of course, Dewey was too. Again, make the argument he was as well. But I think Sydney is absolutely has carte blanche. I do. I think she could come back. She could say, "I want to be in. I want to be in Scream 10."
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to write you apart. We're going to write
Yeah,
you in.
I
We're going to
agree.
figure it away somehow, right? So I kind of hope that Gail has that ability as well because she seems reinvigorated. Because in
Yeah.
Scream 4, remember, she wanted to be killed.
Yeah.
And Wes was like, no, let's don't kill you just yet. And she's like, okay, it's Wes. So of course, whatever you say, Wes, well, I'm good. But to go from that, and of course, I know that's a long time ago. That's a 10, 11-year gap. A lot of things can happen in a decade, right? You can change immensely. We should change immensely in a lot of ways as we get to her. But the thing is, though, she seems giddy and ready to go. Like you mentioned, I mean, she's already signed on. And at the time, she didn't say she had signed on, but we find out
You have to
later.
kind of pick and choose, but it sounded like she signed on before the script got to
It
her.
sounds like it, yeah, because we got that confirmation in Production Weekly that she's officially on the cast list.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, because she hasn't officially Instagrammed anything yet. She
Nope.
still hasn't. But we know from Production Weekly, and that's when I switched my description to saying from possibly to she's on.
Yeah,
When I saw the
for
Production
sure.
Weekly, oh, they know she's already signed on. It's official, you
Yeah.
know. But she's still the only cast member on Production Weekly.
And
They don't have anybody
it's
else.
very funny.
And I heard also from an insider that states that they have not cast anyone else for the movie yet.
Jeez.
And if that's true, Alex, this source was very, very reliable and credible. And if that's actually true, it's April 13th today, man. And if Melissa signed on? Is
Yeah.
Tara Jenna Ortega? What? Okay, oh,
Who's probably the busiest? Jenna Ortega is the
She
busiest of
is.
that group. So
yes, and
and that
Yeah.
see, that's another thing with what I was saying earlier. With like, I know it's a fantasy to like get everything that they would have wanted in the beginning, but you look even to like Scream 3, right? And like that probably wasn't going to be how it was because Nev wasn't available so much. So while
Right.
it is what it is, it's etched in history. Like that movie
Yeah.
exists, and we have to like, it's canon, and it's fine. But like, you know what I mean? But like, what would it have been if everything worked out and they got what they want? So I'm kind of afraid for this one. Yeah, they're like, what if Jenna can only do 4 weeks? Well, okay, well, she's not the final girl then. Like all of our dreams, you know what I mean? Like you
I know.
can't do it.
No.
Or I mean, well, maybe you could do like a Sydney thing in 3, but you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
but it wouldn't probably be what they wanted.
No.
So you have to change that. So now you're not getting the true, and that's what books can be good for. Like, can they write a book of what the true Scream 6 was going to be? Like, that's I guess what I'm worried about with the. There she is, the best
Yes.
character in Scream 5 by a mile. But that's the
Absolutely.
thing, and I don't know. And she's the bit. I mean, she just is, right? Like,
Yeah, I
Nev
think
is
so.
enjoying family life and all that stuff. Melissa Barrera, there's big names, but Jenna Ortega
Yeah.
is the biggest name, I think, and she also is the busiest, just nonstop doing projects. So
constantly. And my concern was, what if her agent gets with her and says, you know what, we were at a different place a year and a half, 2 years ago,
yeah.
but you're now, your salary needs to go up to X a
Yeah,
dollar, X a dollar
I'd love to
amount.
know contracts. Like, do they have an
Oh,
option to
fabulous.
pick up a second one? Did some of them sign on for more than one?
Yeah,
Do you think
man.
Sam, like, or Melissa Barrera, she probably I would have signed at least those two. Like, you get, there she is. You get one movie with the option of a second movie, so you're like stuck with us basically. Like, if you're the company, I would have tried that, and maybe they did that kind of stuff. They always try to keep
True.
secret. We'll know soon. I mean, we better
We
know
will.
in like a
We're,
month.
we're gonna have
at,
to.
at least.
Yeah. I mean, goodness gracious, it's got to start leaking out that
Yeah,
who's
that's
on board here, and so I guess for the sake of our the rest of this conversation, we'll go with the assumption that
They're all back.
everyone's back.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's back, and I still think though Sydney will probably be the last one to announce that she's gonna, like she did in 5. She was the very last one, remember,
Yeah.
that says she's back. But I do believe that she'll come back. How they're gonna work? Oh, I love that. I just love that shot. How they're going to work just before shooting Richie in the leg. That's the scene right there. But I don't know how they're going to work her in. It's going to have to be creative. I know they'll figure it out. There'll be a way to do it somehow.
Maybe her and Gail like talked at the end of 5, and they decided to stay close to each other. They could. I mean,
It could be.
You could do as simple as that, but
Yeah,
she never wants to go back to Woodsboro. But like, would she go to New York? Maybe.
maybe. And I have an idea, man. And you know who I am here. I'm the self-professed conductor. You know where I'm going,
I
Alex.
was waiting for it.
Of this. I know you have, but you're like, dude, it's been 30 minutes. You hadn't talked about him yet. So, but think about this just for a second, though. Seriously, what if we find out there are clues given in 6 as the murders are happening? They're unearthing clues that lead us back to Mr. Stu Mocker, Alex. And what better reason for Nev Campbell for Sydney, I should say, to get involved, because to say, I am going to finish that. It's where it started. I'm going to end him. And so she joins the fight at the very end again. And her intention is to take him out. And of course, the way you do this, man, brilliantly, because one of the big arguments people say is, well, if you bring Stu back, you make this all about Sydney again. And my counter argument to that is like, only if you write it that way,
True.
because you don't have to. You don't have to make it. So here's a great way to do that. So at the very end, Sydney comes back, and I'm talking about the final act. She's acting the last half hour of the movie, last 20 minutes. She shows up when they find out that it looks like Stu Mocker's involved, and she's in there, and I'm just making this kind of spitballing with you, but basically she's about to get killed by Stu. And what happens? Sam, if it's going to be Sam, I prefer Jenna. I know. Yeah. I prefer Tara. So, but if Radio Silence is insistent upon Sam being the new final girl for the trilogy, then what if she steps in and kills Stu and saves Sydney, kind of like the hero? I know we saw that a little bit of that in the last one with Tara shooting Amber, but I don't know. That's just whether or not they do that or not. Either way, my biggest point is, one way I can think of where it makes sense that Sydney comes back is if it's old blood, it's original, and all things go back to the original, according to Mindy. And just a thought, Alex. So I know that you're kind of in the middle of the Stu train and not on, and I respect that 100%. But tell me your thoughts. What do you think about that, at least as a plausible way that you could get Sydney back?
Yeah, I think that's a surefire. Like, I mean, like you can debate the other ones. That one would 100%. I mean, if you connect anything back to those two, Billy or Stu, you would get there. That one's a good one. I think Sam turning psycho would maybe also be a good one, because then you have like a Billy thing, and you say, okay, well, like, and then maybe she feels responsible because she helped her in 5, and stuff like that. Yeah, there was like the theory of maybe 2 different ghost faces in 2 different locations. Maybe something as simple and honestly maybe even stupid as like calling her at Sydney and saying like, I know where you live. So here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna come down to New York, or I'm going to like attack your house. Like, it's not
Oh,
something as simple as like, I know where you are. Kind of like three,
yeah, yeah.
in a way. So like,
Hmm.
there's definitely ways. It also depends on how much of importance they want to give Sydney. You know what I mean?
Right.
If
That's
Gale
true.
really is that lead, here's the thing though: if Gale really is the lead, then they're 100% doing Star Wars. They're just, you know what I mean? Like that is the Star Wars thing. I don't know if that necessarily means you have to kill her. And
Yeah.
actually, that would maybe be the best of all worlds, because the idea
Hmm.
of Star Wars, of each movie is a legacy character kind of leading it along, like
Hmm.
that's fine. You don't have to kill them at the end. So in a way, if you do Gale and she leads 6, then you would be guaranteed that 7 is all Sydney. So there is a way of that working in our favor. But yet again, I don't like to bet on those things anymore because they
I know.
normally don't work out. But yeah, I think it'll just depend on how much they need or care about Sydney, in
Yeah.
this movie, and that'll depend
Hmm.
on. Also, you have their mom, because their mom would have went to school with her,
Hmm.
Sam and Terry. So
That's true.
there's a couple different, but if the mom's in it, which I think people kind of almost assume,
Hmm.
maybe that's wrong, but why would she be in it though, at this, like, in a college? So she
I know.
follows them.
I
I mean,
mean,
maybe.
maybe like after these events, she's like, you know what? I'm gonna take a new job that I don't have to travel so much. Because
Yeah,
remember, she was in London at a conference, so maybe she's like, I'm gonna
that's true.
spend time with you guys now. I'm gonna be present in your lives. We're gonna
Yeah.
make this family unit work. And everyone's in New York. It's just a free for all. We got Christina Carpenter in New York. Leslie Mocker says, I'm gonna go to New York too. Why not? And we get Stu's sister up there. But I mean, it could work. I mean, think about it. Both daughters gone. What is she and all the events that happened there? Christina Carpenter may want to get out of Woodsboro too. She
Yeah,
may not have any desire to live there anymore. And all those horrible memories of what happened at the hospital and in her house and
yeah.
everything.
Not being
So,
present for any of them.
and not, yeah, that's the thing, not being there for any of it except the aftermath when she gets home
But
to
even
clean
that,
the
I don't know. Like,
bloodstains.
what do you do with her too? Do you make her a
Hmm.
killer? That doesn't really make sense, at least right now. And you can write stuff in, you can fill in
Yeah,
gaps, but
yeah.
to have their mom and like she wasn't present for 5, she really has no reason to be a murderer. You know what I mean? But she
Not
is an
really.
interesting character, and I think people are right. Like, I'm not dissing people who want her in it. I think it makes
Yeah.
sense in ways. I think she's a character in this universe, like an established character now. There's always
Hmm.
going to be intrigue when it comes to family. The father who left, he's the most, you know what I
There you
mean?
go.
That's like the most intriguing one.
And that's someone who, again, we don't know. We know John Blackmore is the name they gave him as kind of a joke in the last one
Yeah.
for doing their script readings. But I mean, whoever he is, he's an X Factor. X
Right.
well. Leslie Mocker is an X Factor. Her son's been killed. I mean, look what happened to Debbie Salt.
Yeah.
Mrs. Loomis, sweet old good old fashioned revenge, she said.
Yep.
I mean, there's motives there. So, and then
And
we
that would
didn't
help
never.
Vince's character too, if
What's that?
and that would help Vince as a
Oh yeah,
character,
yeah.
because if
Hmm.
that ties into literally anything, which Stu's sister would make sense. It would.
Yeah, it would. It would. It would connect together right there to Vince. And another character, Alex, that I don't hear very many people talk about much is Hank Loomis, Sam's grandfather, Billy's
Yeah.
dad, who is alive. What if he was to make a reappearance as a nice guy? I don't see him as a mean guy in this one. I think all that happened to him with his wife, or ex-wife, and his son. I think he could be at a place in life where he just wants reconciliation.
Yeah.
He wants to meet his granddaughter and have a relationship. So what if he was in the picture? I don't know that he moves to New York. You can't have everybody move to New York, but I don't know. I'm just saying there's possibilities.
Well, and
They,
these movies always kind of find a way to do more cameos, to do more like fun stuff.
hmm.
So obviously Randy's sister and 5, and
Yeah.
and she could probably reappear again. So it's like, yeah, who do you have? And the thing with Scream is there's not actually that many of them because they all die. So who do
Yeah.
you really have for cameos, fun things, fun nods? Because it's nice to just sprinkle them throughout. And there you go. There's a couple of them.
It is, and there's two more people I want to throw out your way, and see what your take and opinion is. One of them is Joel, the
Yeah, yeah,
cameraman from Scream 2, who's still alive, and was never killed on screen. So he's out there. Which, by the way, I have to mention the Meeks, the name, the last name of the twins, right?
yeah,
Mindy Meeks Martin. Well, if you look at the credits for Scream 2, Joel's last name, he doesn't have one. It's just Joel.
right.
But what's the actor who plays Joel's last name? It's Martin. It's Dwayne Martin.
Yep.
So how meta is it for Radio Silence to name the twins Meeks dash Martin,
Yeah,
and the actor who plays Joel is actually last name is Martin?
yeah,
I think they're telling us Joel is the father of those
yeah,
twins. We didn't see him in 5, but I think that we'll see him in 6. What do you think?
yeah. I agree. I think that's a nice little cameo, right? You have
Yes.
the husband and wife walk out. You know, the
Hmm.
parents, and that's a nice little thing. I totally. I think it has to be.
Hmm. Yeah. Same here. And then another character I want to talk about bringing back. A little more controversial, but I think it's still very much in the realm of real. Is Angelina the second killer in Scream
Oh,
3? We
yeah,
didn't get the reveal, but we
yeah,
got but she was the second killer, is my theory, and I firmly believe it. I think evidence supports it. And so we see her, last we see of her, she's drug away from the steps and out of the view of out of the view of Gail and Parker Posey, which is very odd in itself. Why is she drug off? That just no one did. Roman didn't do that to anybody else.
yeah,
So my thought is, what if when he drug her off, she just popped right up, and she was a survivor of Scream 3. Everyone thinks she was the victim, and we find out in Scream 6 though that she's back. She's a teacher, perhaps at the college, and whatever, and she's a survivor telling her story. But we later find out she wasn't just a survivor.
yeah.
She was a killer in Scream 3. Roman's accomplice. It finally goes on the record.
Right.
And I bring that up to say, what are your thoughts on that? Would you be shocked to see Angelina as a teacher or in some role in this movie?
I would be shocked. I do think it's a good theory, and I do generally like believe it. Like I lean into it. I think the people that have come up with it are like there's a lot of backing there. The thing is, and I've said this before, and I don't mean this as an insult to 3, but if there's any movie, any Scream movie that you don't take from, it's probably 3, just because of the mixed kind of thing. Probably it's the least remembered out of any of them in terms of the general, you know what I mean? And
General,
like it or
yeah.
not, and we've, you and I have said this before, like you have to make these, they're for us, and we're
Yep.
always going to be there, and we're like that first wave of people. But then there's also, the mass audience, and
Hmm.
who really even knows her character? You know what I mean?
Right.
Generally. So it's not, it's not an insult to her. And like, I do think that theory is a cool theory. And I think it has backing. I'd love it to be confirmed. And you don't
Yeah.
maybe even necessarily need her in the movie to confirm it. You know what I mean? This is their chance to
Hmm.
fill in some dots if they wanted to, just
It
through
is.
exposition, just kind of, connect it, which again, as we've said with Stu, it's like, for the love of God, just fill it in then.
They.
Again, they want you talking about it. That's why they're
Yes.
doing it, right? Otherwise, it's an easy exposition.
Hmm.
It's one sentence to fill it in. So they hurt themselves with that. But yeah, in terms of that, I like it, but I think I don't know who would actually even know. You know what I mean? Who that
Hmm.
would be too much of a reach, especially. What would any of these people have to do with Sam and Tara and all that? That's just my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah, yeah. Well, and like I say, it would almost, yeah. That's the other thing. You have to, if you're going to incorporate like an Angelina or some of these characters in, you do have to figure out how does this, like Joel. How does it make sense that Joel is there? Well, he could be a TV executive,
Yeah,
right? He could be working at the network that Gail's on,
yeah,
and there's a connect. So that's plausible. Okay, I can make sense of that.
yeah,
Angelina is a little harder. It would literally have to be something that maybe appears random, like Debbie Salt appeared random
yeah,
as a reporter. Maybe Angelina is a teacher or something, where it looks like she's doing her life is back on track, and then we find out maybe it's not, or maybe she is. she's not a killer.
Right.
I always thought of Stu and Angelina together would be crazy, man. Dude, that would be. But again, I'm fanboying a little bit there. I'll agree with you. I'll give you that. So maybe not. So those are some characters that I think would be interesting to see
Yeah.
developed and brought back potentially. And I do want to see Martha Meeks back. I hope we get more of Martha in three. But I'll say this: if they're in New York, if that ends up being what they do, we may not.
True.
We may not see
Maybe
Martha at all.
hang back at Woodsboro.
Yeah, she's back at the house. Yeah, keeping the
They could
doors.
do a phone call though, just to need like a
Yeah, yeah,
checking.
that'd be
There,
good.
I mean, there's ways. It's just runtime. What are you trying to accomplish? How much time do you
Yeah,
have? How many
yeah.
killers? I mean, there's and that's the crazy. Like we know nothing, besides
Mm-mm.
potentially a college. I mean, they could go in so many.
True.
You have to connect it to Sam and Tara. We know that.
Hmm.
You have to bring Gale and like, there's some things we know have to happen, but how they do it, it could literally be anything at this point.
It
They
could.
could introduce the killer and they could not die. They could do that for the first time ever. Like I said,
Yes.
for the first time, they could introduce cast members that don't die, that make it, past that point.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah, and if they make all four of these new cast members survive
that'd be
into
shocking.
seven, I would be unprecedented. We've
Yeah,
never seen that. No,
yeah.
that's just nuts. All right, so let's talk about a couple more things, and we'll start to wrap up. I know this is so time goes so fast. So tell me now, what do you want to see in the opening? Do you want to see them go back to the classic Scream opening kill where we get a celebrity cameo where we know they're going to be killed and we just enjoy seeing this, like Omar Epps and Jada Pinkett Smith and Drew Barrymore, that kind of a setup? Or do you want to see one of the legacy cast members, not necessarily Gail and Sydney, but the new legacy, like we talked about, Chad being an opening kill or something?
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you want to see from the opening in six?
That's maybe the hardest question. No, because it's
Mm-hmm.
tough because I do want to see like the iconicness. There's a reason why 5 is the best one after 1. There just is, and it's because like that kind of magic is so special.
Mm,
Maybe you skip it for this one. We talked a lot. That's kind of been the theme, right? You skip killing Gale, you do it for the next one. Maybe you do that. Maybe you have, and I think you should probably have the iconic call. Why not end the trilogy in the beginning with
yeah.
an iconic call? Because it may
Mm-hmm.
be the last, like truly this time, it could be the last time, like ever.
Yep.
Everybody's getting up there. Roger, L. Jackson. So for that, I would say maybe you skip it only because you just did it in 5, and that was such a mirror of 1 to have a cameo. I mean, like two's opening is cool, and I like two's opening. Then
Mm-hmm.
3 is a more of an established thing. 4 is just all over the place. So I guess there's nothing necessarily wrong with the cameo, but I don't know if you need to do it, but maybe they feel, well, we have the energy back of Scream. Celebrities
Yeah.
want to be in it again. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Kristen Stewart or whatever. But at the same time, like I don't really I don't care. Like if I see Kristen Stewart on screen in a Scream movie, I think I'll be more weirded out than anything. That's just how I view her. But
Yeah.
so I think the best of both worlds would be something with. I don't think Chad, but if
Okay.
you, not even Mindy. No, I'm gonna eliminate
Yeah.
Mindy. I think if you did Sam or Gail, I think would be kind of cool.
Ooh.
Not
Ooh.
killed
Oh,
in the
okay.
beginning, but maybe you copy 5 in that way,
You
but you
tack them.
don't kill them, but you do
Okay.
something along those lines. Or I don't know. I really don't know what. Because you can't copy 5 again. But I
No.
don't really. I would say safe prediction. They probably just do cameo. They'll probably go if
Okay.
they're gonna mirror. Well, you know what? Yeah, if they're gonna mirror Scream 2 so much with the college campus, then they would mirror the opening of being a celebrity thing.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? So if we
Yeah,
want to take
man.
it like 1-to-1 ratio, then they would maybe do that. So that would probably be my safe prediction. My want would be
Mm-hmm.
Sam or because like we know these characters now. You could technically do any of the 4 because we know them.
You could.
This is not the start of a franchise. You know what I mean?
No.
Like 3, you had to know who Cotton is, otherwise 3 doesn't matter. The open,
Right. Yeah. You don't
So
care. Mm-hmm.
you could do the same, but I just don't. A phone call with Chad is not on my wants list, or Mindy, honestly, like neither of them. So yeah, Mindy maybe in the movie, but yeah, as an opening, I really wouldn't care. Then if you do Tara, you're just doing 5 literally. Then maybe
Yeah.
there's something special to that, but maybe there isn't. I don't know because you can't have her die, so she's going to win again or she's going to survive again.
Hmm.
Maybe there's like a fake attack or an attack that's so poorly executed that she actually easily wins, and that would be something very different. We've never almost like a prank, like
Yeah.
it's not a real attack, but it is. I don't know.
Okay.
And you can't do Sydney because that would just be for the original idea. I feel so.
I think
That's
so.
what I want to hear you. What do you think?
Yeah.
Because
No,
that's the hardest question.
it is a hard question because it's an important one because Scream is known for the iconic openings. That's
Yep.
just what it's one of the things we all talk about when we talk about Scream are the opening kills and now attack. We have an attack now for the
Yeah.
first time.
Yeah. Change the
So
name now.
I know the opening kills slash attacks. So or attack singular right now,
Yeah.
but
For now.
that could change.
Yeah.
So here's what I want, and I've been saying this for a little bit, but I want to see Samara Weaving brought in, who was the star of Ready or Not, who already
Yeah.
works with Radio Silence. They know each other, of course. I want to see her be the opening kill.
Oh,
That's what I
okay.
want. A celebrity. I want the old school. Ready to go back to 1 and 2 celebrity
So like
cameo
a phone
kills.
call at a house, like a closed setting.
Yes, yeah, the setting I haven't thought through very well. So I'm open to the setting. I mean, I would open to her. I would open for her, to her being in a college on the college campus,
Yeah.
and the movie starts with her cell phone going off as she's walking out of a classroom to go to the dorms or something,
Yeah.
and she's walking on the college grounds, and it's Ghostface,
Yeah.
and then she gets killed and attacked there right there in the opening sequence of the college, and that's what starts the whole thing up. Like, and Minnie and Chad and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, what happened? Who is she?" And
Yeah.
then you start, the whole thing unfolds. So, I personally am a fan of the celebrity cameo opening kill. That's
Yeah.
what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not going
I'd
in
be up
like,
for it. I would just depend on. I like
yeah,
Samara, so that would be a good one. I
yeah,
think it would for me. It would depend on who is the celebrity. That would just
yeah,
for me.
yeah,
But yeah, no, that's being killed like an open area, like a college campus, maybe like at night or something. Being called
yes,
that would be a cool thing. Then I guess the question would be how would it connect? It doesn't have to connect super in depth, really, because like twos, they
hmm
were just names. It's just like
right.
the names were the only thing that had meaning. So
That's right.
that's easy.
That's right. You can name her something that connects back. If you really want to go that route again, pay an homage. We're talking about. You could kind of do that in a new way, and make
Yeah.
that and do that and make it work. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for in the opening kill is to have a kill again. Let it be a death, but let it be a celebrity. Let's just have fun with it and say, oh, good, we're gonna get to see Samara, for example, getting killed in the movie.
Yeah.
And so that those things will be what I want to see. Now, let me ask you this, and maybe for now we'll wrap up here with our maybe one final question for now. And again, Alex, you and I talked earlier. This is only the beginning. This Scream 6 machine, it really hasn't even gotten on the tracks.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still loading it up. They're still loading everything into it, and so
Yeah.
the day's going to come where I think you and I are going to be having fairly regular meetings together
Yeah.
and live streams and stuff where we're going to talk about updates. But for now, let me ask you this: tell me what do you want to see from Scream 6? What will make you feel when it's over that it was a good film, that you're happy with it?
Oh man, not disrespecting, and that's ambiguous. Not disrespecting what's come before. So not being Star Wars Episode 8 would be a good start to
Oh
me, which
gosh.
would be probably just as simple as not killing Gail or
Hmm.
Sydney. That's that. And
Okay.
then you do have to worry about, and it's not even really because I don't really know how I would feel if it was just another Scream movie. Like everybody, including myself, we kind of say it as like a negative, and I think it's fair, but also at the same time, like I don't know how I'd actually feel. Maybe I would like it and be like, well, it's still just another Scream movie. You know what I mean? Because then if you go the opposite way and it's something more because they make these big unexpected whatever the line was, right, big risks, you can mess that up so badly or you can make it good. So
Yeah.
I do want them to take big risks, but I also want them to be very, very calculated. I guess It'd be really cool. My favorite of like the groups of ideas for it. It would be cool to have either well, not even either, a killer that gets revealed. Whether it's, I would honestly take a killer that gets revealed to us and that goes into the next movie. I would also take a killer that
Mm.
gets revealed to us early in this movie and still dies at the end. Like you still get the
Ah,
ending, but we know who it is the whole time. Now that is
okay.
not that revolution. Like that wouldn't really change much. That's just kind of like an experience in the moment. So maybe the bigger, I guess,
Hmm.
leap would be two killers, maybe three. One of them we know, none of we don't know the others or the other one, and that one will make it to the next one. I'd also like to see them go down the
Mm.
Sam psychopath route. I
Yes.
really don't know if they would, although she kind of seems like she wants it. So
Look at that
yeah, I mean, she
shot.
literally said she
Ooh.
wants to delve deeper into that kind of mindset.
She
Um,
did. She says she wants them to take Sam to darker places. Man.
there's only one way to do that, though, and I don't know if she
Hmm.
realizes that. You, I get because we've talked about it. You can't come back from killing somebody. So if
No.
you
Especially the
kill
way she
somebody,
did
if
it
she
too,
kills
Alex.
somebody at any point, um,
Yeah.
I don't know. Unless they would do like where she gets arrested and she's like okay with it. I don't know. But some of those things, I think a killer being revealed to us and making
Okay.
it into the next movie. So like what Force should have been, would have been
Mm.
cool, or it would be
Wow.
cool. That'd probably be my number one. I don't
Wow.
really know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know any other specifics because there's obviously so much they could do. I
So
don't think the
much.
four of them make it. I think
Yeah.
Chad dies, and then I think Sam 50-50. Mindy, I don't need, but I think because of the Randy role, the movies need her.
I
So,
think, yeah, I
you know
think
what I mean?
so. Mm-hmm.
So she's kind of
Yeah.
safe. And then, yeah, you keep Gail. And if they kill Gail or Sydney, well, if they kill Sydney, they can't. That's not even I shouldn't even say that
Oh.
because Nev would not come back. So if
No,
Nev's in
she
the
won't.
movie, which is a double edged sword, because now you
Mm-hmm.
know, but yet again, we always kind of wanted that. Like Sydney shouldn't be killed. So, now if she is in the movie, we know for sure she's safe, but that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, she's safe, but I'm okay with that too because
Yeah.
I want her to be safe. I don't want her to die, and I don't want her Sydney to live forever. Like, I mean, I'm one of those. Some people are ready for her to move on. I'm not. I'm one of those
Yeah.
who I want her
I
in
want to
this.
see as long as she wants to be in it, what's
Yeah,
the
me
harm?
too.
And she can be in these movies. What
Heck yeah! It's like this is
and
her.
now you can't even use the excuse of, well, I want Sydney to live a happy life. Well, she may not be living like every couple of years. She may have like a dark time for like a week or so.
Yeah,
But
you're right.
from a fictional canon perspective, she's not ever gonna die. So she will live happily. She just has a couple hiccups here and there that she has to
I
deal with
like that.
something.
That's right, man. I love that. And that's what we got to have from Sydney. And I've always said, like, if she's in the movie, she's the only character we can all know going in 100% safe. You can have zero stress over her attacks
Yeah.
because they will not be fatal. You
Yeah.
know, they may be hurt, they may incapacitate her for a little bit, but she's going to recover.
Yeah.
Everyone else though, not safe. I think, including Gail. Everyone else is on the table, I
Yeah.
think, and so it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to find out. We should probably get some casting news soon, I would think, right? We're in the middle of April now, April the 13th, when we're
I hope
filming this
so.
video. So
Yeah.
fingers crossed. And so
Unless
this
it's
is
just
awesome.
the Courtney Cox movie and it's just her.
This solo performance.
So
She's worked her
I don't know,
her
like she's
career.
doing a documentary on the thing and it's just her. I mean, that'd be weird.
Well, that would be so weird. I don't know if I'd like that. No, no, no.
I don't
And
know
that's
why
the thing.
Melissa Barrera. I really don't know why it's
Hmm.
just her. Why it's just Courtney Cox. I assume, and I
Hmm.
assumed when it first happened that they did it out of like they need to have somebody on. Because I don't know. I don't subscribe to that thing. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know if you need to have a cast member maybe to like qualify or something. But
right.
why is it her and not Melissa Barrera? That was always my thing. That actually doesn't make any sense. But
No,
it
no.
doesn't need to, but it was just something I found pretty interesting that it's her and not Jenna Ortega or Melissa Barrera.
True. Very true, man. Yeah. It's almost like, but man, you remember when Dewey, they set us up for Dewey's death from the beginning of Scream 5's marketing with the Airbnb. He was the face of the movie, and then they show us the trailer with all the
Even
hospital
his filming
scenes.
schedule, with being there
Yeah,
with the younger group and then leaving like halfway
yeah,
through, like the writing was
This-
definitely on the walls, and we knew it,
yes, yeah. We
But
did.
so we'll have to keep. I mean, but we're smarter for it now. We knew it, but we were like, well, maybe not. But we really should have just trusted our gut in
Yep.
everything that we saw in front of our eyes. So now we'll be able to do the safest thing they could do is have everybody on set for the 2 months. You know what I mean? No,
Yeah,
try and trick
yeah.
us almost,
They
even in the
should.
filming.
Totally, man. To everyone, take pictures and post on your Instagram of everybody. Like
Yeah,
everyone's here. There's no
yeah,
secrets. Everybody's here. And now you're going to figure out who's going to actually survive and stuff. That
yeah.
would be now. That's cool. I'd be down with that, man. But I just want it to be a Scream movie. But I want new things. I want three killers, not two,
Okay.
or a mastermind. Right?
Yeah.
I want them to. I want there to be chase scenes again, where
Yeah.
people are actually running in a horror movie again. You know, we got none of that in 5. They're like, it's like no. The closest thing we got to a chase scene was when poor Tara was in her wheelchair with her bloodied up hand trying to move, and that was like in slow motion.
Yeah. Or
That's the
Chad, same thing. Both
and
injured, both made it
Chad.
like 10 feet.
Yeah, like 10 feet and it's over and chop, chop, chop. So
Yeah.
I want to see some real. So I want to see some Scream 2 style chase scenes. I want to see. I want to see that, and I want to see three killers, at least three.
And they
Or
all
give.
die at the end, or
What's that?
and they all die at the end, or
All three killers.
yeah, for your
Ooh,
idea.
now I'm not necessarily locked into that.
Yeah.
I'm fine if two die and a third one is revealed or hinted at, and then it's still there.
It's
He
just
makes
tough
it
because we always say like the number game. Like, the last one was, I guess technically it was 3v2 because Tara was kind of out of it, right? And maybe 4v2. If you have
Yeah.
three killers all at this, but I don't think you could. You couldn't have three killers all at the same time in the same room. Because 3v whatever.
Oh,
Sam,
yeah.
Tara, Gail sit 4 versus 3, and they have knives and guns and they don't would be tough. But having one survive or one that we know that nobody else knows, they probably
Right.
all three wouldn't be together for that. So
Pro-
it would
no,
work.
probably not. I think so. You can make it work, especially if you don't reveal, like if they do the cliffhanger thing, where like the third killer or the mastermind, for example, is actually at another location.
Yeah.
And they're like typing up. I mean, I don't know who it could possibly be. I have no idea who this mastermind could be, Alex. Like, no, I wish I could have something just like pop in my head or pop on the screen
Or like
that would just help.
a picture to show or something. I don't
A
know.
picture to show that would help kind of guide the conversation in a particular way. But since we don't have that, whoever that mastermind might be would kind of maybe allude to them at the very end. And, I've heard some examples in my chats and live streams that are really cool. One of them that I like is the very final shot you see. Because my theory is this, Alex. If Stumacher, for example, is alive, and if he is behind all this, which I think he is, he could have been the one who originated the thread in Dreadit. He's the one that
Yeah.
started that whole thread to get Richard and Amber recruited into his little cult,
Yeah.
where he's manipulating people all over the country, not just California.
Right.
So guess what? Ghostface is in New York. Well, like how come there's a Ghostface in New York? Because they're part of the same thing. They're part of
True.
this thing that Dreadit thread, and he's recruiting and manipulating these people. So that's just a theory that I have that I personally really am a fan of. That theory. I love
Yeah.
this idea, but here's my thought. You could do it like this: the end of 6. It's about to go. They kill the Ghostface killers. Everything's winding down, and then all of a sudden, before the credits, you see a scene where there's like a camera behind someone sitting at an office desk with the computer up, and all you see is the back of them. You can't see who it is, and the camera comes up in such a way where you never see who they are. It stays at
Right.
shoulder level or below, and you see them typing on this computer, and
Yeah.
then the camera zooms in on the computer, and it is this person saying it's on Reddit, this subreddit thread, and this person is typing something to an individual, and then he says something like, "Well, you didn't think Amber and Richie started this, did you?" Question mark, and then bam, in credits. like an operation. I feel in the kitchen. So I love that
Yeah,
song.
that's creative. It's different. It's it makes sense to set up. They could do. I mean, it's really has there ever been a setup for the next one in that kind? No, there hasn't, right?
No,
So
never happened before,
yeah,
ever.
yeah. So
It
I
would
mean,
be
that
new
could
ground.
easily be a twist. There's nothing necessarily wrong. I mean, you fall into the movie mistakes potentially of you don't want to make this movie to just lead into, what I mean, you don't want it to literally be a
Yeah,
lead into the next one. That's the only, that's the main like movie industry issue with like second movies or anything. But there's
true.
nothing inherently wrong with knowing what you're getting yourself into with the third movie. You know,
I think so, man. Why not? And then what are we talking about? The whole next year and a
yeah,
half.
yeah,
Who's behind the laptop, Alex?
yeah.
Who's started the Reddit thread? You know, and who in the heck could possibly be doing this? Oh my gosh. So we would have discussion upon discussion. I would have you on like 30 live streams a month. That's right, one a day. And we would be tearing this thing into pieces.
Yeah,
So it could be fun, right? It could be
for
fun.
sure. Yeah,
So
you want people talking about those, and that helps. Because
it
we're
does.
somehow doing it, and we really don't have anything to go off of. Imagine having something to go off of, for the next week.
Oh my gosh, yes. Be amazing. So, and you know what else is amazing, everyone? Having Alex on this video today. This has been amazing, Alex. I appreciate you making the time to come over and hang out in my shack and talk about Scream for a little while. This has been so much fun, dude.
Yeah, thank you again so much for having me, and I always have a blast. And they're podcast episodes, which it works well for me.
Of
But I had a lot of
course.
fun, and like we said, this is just the beginning, really, because we know
Yes.
nothing, and within the next by June 13th, we will, I think, have a fair amount.
A fair amount. So how about you and I get together again in like a month or so,
Yeah.
and we'll touch base and let's see how what we know, what casts we've got out there, if we got any potential plot points that maybe have surfaced, maybe we can talk about. Just kind of update
Leak
the
their way online.
yeah, because you know how those things happen sometimes. But yeah, I would love to have you back soon, very soon.
For
Once we
sure.
have some news and we can start formulating new ideas and kind of massaging our theories a little bit.
Yeah,
That would be awesome. All right.
for sure.
Okay, guys. Well, listen, if you have not yet subscribed to Podcast Now, this is the time to do it. I want you guys to go. I'll have a link in the description below. Just go right down there, click it, take you right to his channel. Alex has got some incredible videos, not just about Scream, which there's a lot of great Scream content, but he
Yeah.
does a lot of great gaming content. And Alex, well, first let me finish this thought. So you guys need to go over there. A squirrel? A squirrel? You guys need to go and subscribe if you haven't already to Alex's channel, Podcast Now. It's really great. He's a real great friend to the channel and to myself, and he's just a great guy all the way around. You're gonna
Yeah.
love it. So please, guys, do that next. Now, Alex, I have a gaming question for you. Shocker! I'm not really much into
Oh boy.
gaming,
Yes.
but I have seen this trailer going around for, I believe it's called. You're going to help me out here. I think it's called The Quarry.
Yes.
This is
Yes.
with
Yes. Yeah.
David Arquette has a voiceover work in it. And
Yes, sir.
what can you tell us, maybe in a real quick little synopsis of this game? Any news you may have on it, when it's
Yeah.
coming out? What's is
So,
it,
and
PS4?
I think something for you too is perfect. And I didn't know this when it was first announced. This is the first game of all the games they've done. It has a mode where it's just a movie mode. So this is a choose your own. So you pick. Your
Ooh,
decisions will decide whether these characters live or die. I think there's eight or so characters that are playable. He may or may not be.
wow.
Weirdly enough, David
Okay.
Arquette's. We don't know for sure if you can play as him, but there's a new mode where you can literally set settings where do you want everybody to live? Do you want everybody to
Uh-huh.
die? Click it. You set their personalities of how they can act in certain circumstances. And then
That's
you sit back
cool.
and watch. You don't have to, because it's quick time. You have to press buttons at the right time or they'll get injured or die or live, right? So it gets stressful. These games are stressful games and you can lose
Oh,
everybody. But this one has, when I said this, I made videos on it. And I said it for horror fans and it's good for anybody. It's
yeah.
literally a 9 to 11 hour horror movie. You don't need to be a gamer. You don't need
Okay.
to, have good hand eye. You set the
Hmm.
setting. It's $70. It's a lot of money, but
Wow.
it's 10 hours. If you're a horror fan, you sit on your couch, you don't even have to play it. You watch a 10-hour movie. So
Interesting. So you can actually set it. You can be the director then. Sounds
Yes.
like, or the writer almost. You're
Yes,
directing.
they each have their own personality in general that you can't change, but how they will act in circumstances in the game, you can set that for each one. And then there's two base modes where if you want everybody to live, you click it, the game will roll. If you want everybody to die, you click that, the game will roll, and everybody will die.
Wow.
So, and which is
Dang.
possible normally. You can play the game and that'll happen. But
Okay.
this one, you just sit back and, which I think is very clever, and I think that attracts more than just me.
Yeah, man, because that's very unique. You can literally watch it, treat it like a
It's like a
movie.
10-hour. I mean, it's a big game, 10-hour movie.
Wow.
Horror fans don't really have that. So
No. This is cool. And is it out now, or is it? Do
it's
you know if
out
it's
June 10th.
okay? June the
June
10th. So
10th.
we got a little bit, a couple months.
Yeah.
June the 10th, and all the network, PS4, all that, all the
Yeah,
platforms.
yeah. Last Xbox One,
Got it.
PS5, Xbox Series SX. Yeah, I'll be playing it. I'll be doing stuff on my channel on it as well.
Dude. All right, I'm gonna have to pop over and watch you do some
Yeah, yeah.
gameplay, man.
We could do
That's
a watch party.
we
Watching the
should.
game.
We should. That would be awesome. I would love that, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's so awesome. Well, thank you for that. And I'm so glad I remembered to mention that because I wanted to ask you about that, and I'm glad I got to be able to get it on.
I'm glad I knew it, but I was scared that you were going to play a game I'd never heard of.
No, that was awesome. So, guys, again, Alex, he knows his games. He knows his horror movies. You just got to go check out his channel. He's on top of all the stuff. He's got his finger on the pulse of the gamings, all the game stuff, and he's a big Scream fan and got great Scream content. He's breaking down all the characters from Scream 5. You've got to go check those things out. So, Alex, again, thank you, my friend. This has been a blast, and I will circle back with you soon, and we'll reschedule, or not reschedule, but we'll schedule another time very
Absolutely.
soon to do this again.
Yes,
Awesome.
thank you again so much.
You're welcome. All right, guys, to everyone out there, thank you for watching. Remember, this is Craven Something Scary, where it's all horror all the time. We'll catch you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.